Greetings, everybody. I am the Starving Martian, and I've never been what you would call a fan of the live-action Transformers movies. That's a rant for another time, and other people have made almost exactly the same points I can make, so we're not going to get down that rabbit trail, but I will admit that I do like some of the robot designs. Some of the characters look awful, but some of them I thought looked really, really neat, and I admit I do like the Megatron. The way Megatron looked, especially in the first couple movies, was really, really cool. He's just got these jagged points all over the place. Got these nasty little pointy teeth and these claw hands and everything. And I thought he looked good. I thought the voice actor who portrayed him did a good job. I liked Megatron. Had no problem with Megatron. So recently they came out with the studio series, which is more movie accurate versions of the movie characters than they were able to do at the times that the films were actually coming out. And there's a Megatron from that, from Revenge of the Fallen. Possibly the worst Transformers movie ever made, but it had some good robot designs. And I did like that Megatron. I looked at a couple reviews of him online. Unfortunately, I'm a collector on a budget. I'm not dropping $30 on a movie Megatron. So I took a look online and out of curiosity to see if I could find something a little bit more in my price range. It's a bit difficult for two reasons. One, a lot of the things from the first couple movies are quite expensive these days, and two, a lot of the Megatrons that were made back then just were not good at all. They were quite awful. And then I came across this guy here. This is Fast Action Battler Megatron. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Fast Action Battlers were a toy series put out with the first two movies. And they were meant for kind of intermediate audiences. They're not nearly as complex as the mainline toys, your deluxes, your leader classes, your Voyagers, anything like that. But they're also not as babyish as the one-step Transformers, little pop-up guys they had around, that kind of thing. And I actually quite like some of them. Some of them do still come off kind of, play school. They do tend to have like super deformed kind of cutesy car alternate modes and that kind of thing. But Megatron here avoids that simply by being Megatron. And I thought this was actually a really nice figure of him, decently priced. I got him new in package for like $13. That was including shipping. And so I went ahead and picked him up, and he's quite nice. I do like him a lot. And so let's get in on some details. We'll look at some comparisons and then show off his transformation. So make sure if you want to come a little closer to the camera. Okay, now we can see his head sculpt a little better. And I think they did a really nice job there. It definitely has that movie look to him. They added some silver paint in here, so it's not all just the basic gray, which is good. It gives him that helmeted look that Megatron has always been known for. He's got a very small Decepticon symbol right there on his chest. I think he's pretty well detailed. He's molded in different shades of gray. He's got some gray and silver paint, along with some blacks and some kind of bronze copper coming up on his legs. Some blue on his arms with more of that bronze copper. He's got these ridiculous red hands, though. It's one of my few complaints about his figure is his red hands. They're quite ugly. There was a repaint of this guy in like black and silver, and they fixed his hands there. They give him gray hands there. But the best I can figure is that his hands are a separate piece. They're bolted in here, and they probably just use the same material they used for the missiles, just to save money. So we turn him around, and we can see some of his Cybertronian jet on his back. But this guy does a better job tucking it all out of the way than the either the Leader class or the Voyager class did. I've watched reviews on those guys, and I have to say, for being the cheap, kid-friendly alternative, this is actually the best Megatron figure that was released for the first movie. So how does he stack up with other figures? Well, let's see. We're going to compare him first of all to another Megatron. This is a more G1 style Megatron. And so obviously massive size difference here. But this one's a Voyager class. Sadly, this one's a little discolored from the sun, but it's still pretty cool. So you can see it is a massively different looking character. They kept some of the same kind of, like I said, he has like a helmeted face with some silver inside. That's about it, really. So they did massively change him when they brought him over to the movies, but not as bad as they did some others. Here he is next to a current deluxe size. This, of course, is Deluxe Snarl, and you can see he's actually a little bit taller than a current Deluxe size. So that's actually pretty good value. If you're curious, here he is next to an older Deluxe size, Hot Shot from Armada, and you can see he's a little bit taller than him too. So even at the time, this was a tall figure. Interestingly, he's almost exactly the same size as G1 Repugnus. A weird little pairing there. And, well, he's considerably bigger than the modern Repugnus. But the best figure to compare him to, and the one that I'm going to be displaying him with, is, let me just bring him in. It's Protoform Optimus Prime. And so this depicts Optimus as he looked when he first came to Earth before he got a, truck mode. And these two look great together because they both represent the Cybertronian look. Megatron, especially in the first two movies, doesn't bother taking an Earth form. And I thought that was great. I thought they should have kept that going. At first he's a Cybertronian jet, then he's a Cybertronian tank. And I like the fact that Megatron's so arrogant. He's like, I'm not going to take a puny Earth form. I'm Cybertronian, damn it. So, but this was what Megatron and Optimus would have looked like back on Cybertron together when they were still best buddies, when they were brothers. When they were like, hey, Megatron, how you doing? Hey, I'm doing good, Prime. And so I think they actually look really good together. He's a hair taller than him, as Megatron should be, and just a bit bulkier. And I don't know, I think these two pair off really well. And so they're going to be displayed together on my shelf later. Alright, now as far as gimmicks go, because transforming toys have to have gimmicks, especially back in the day. He's got this punch action, which he's got a little bit of a pivot at the waist, so you just pull him back and let him go. Boom. So, let's bring Prime back in. Megatron! I hear you're trying to start a Cybertronian war. What's up with that, man? Prime, get out of here. Oh! So you can do that. And then you've probably noticed he's got these red missiles sticking out of his arms. And those fire off. They're not on a spring gimmick. They're just kind of stuck in there with some pressure. So let's bring in our favorite crash test dummy. And see if these things have any kick, any power to them. Not really. Kind of skidded his legs. Let's see. Let's try again. No, that one just missed. These pop up with a little bit of force. I'm sure if I was close enough, I could knock the dummy over. But they're not going to go flying across the room. Now, I actually think he looks a lot better with the missiles out. The way they tuck in is like right over here, right behind the hand. So you don't even have a huge gaping hole where they used to be. So I actually think he looks better with the missiles out. If I can find a good place to put the missiles so I don't lose them, I might actually display them like that. But let's get them back in. And let's see if we can't transform this guy. Now, transformation is very simple, as most fast action battlers are, but there is one trick to it that the instructions don't make very clear, that you will be frustrated if you don't figure this out. First of all, I do want to point out these wing bits here have a tendency to pop off pretty easy, so you want to be gentle when adjusting them. They pop right back on, so it's no problem. But yeah, as you can see, just moving them around, they come right off. So get back on there. So we're gonna adjust those and move the arms up a little. And the instructions kind of show you just to pull this up, but if you just pull on this guy and try to move him around, he's not gonna budge. It's like a Chinese finger trap, you know. He'll be like yanking and pulling, and nothing will happen, and you're just getting frustrated. And what you really want to do is stick a finger down under his head here and kind of push out until this bit of his torso clicks. It'll pop out, and then you can just kind of take this and pull it back, and you can see he's on all these pivoting joints. That's insanely fun. Alright, so you want to bring that out until this part here clicks into place. It'll snap in. And you're almost done. You flip the feet back. The legs will peg into this part here. There's a peg here and a matching hole. And then you can flip up this little nose cone, which again, the nose cone on this hides away so much better than it does in the deluxe or not deluxe, the Voyager or the Leader class version. It's amazing how much better this toy is than the ones that would have sold for like $20 and $40. So the arms peg into the nose cone, the wings extend. And the package actually shows you're supposed to keep these bits down like this. Which you could do. I like to fold them up just to make the wings a little bit longer. It's one of the few drawbacks to the figure is the wings really should be longer, but the Voyager had the exact same problem. So, and there you go. It's Cybertronian jet mode. And the great thing about making Cybertronian vehicles is you can make them look however you want, and then you say, yeah, like you've ever seen a Cybertronian vehicle. Tell me this doesn't look like a Cybertronian jet. In this mode, I think the missiles look a lot better than they do in the robot mode. And you can see most of his detailing is still there from the robot mode, but it looks pretty good. At least from this angle, turn him around, and he does just look like he's playing Superman, except someone cut his head off. He's got this landing gear. Come on, Mr. Landing Gear. There we go. Right here, he's got little rollers on his knees, so he could come in for a landing without destroying himself, which is always positive. And it's interesting, but his jet mode looks almost identical to Optimal Optimus, who just recently got a toy in the Power of the Primes line. He's got the same feet sticking out, he's got the same arms out in front of him, and he's got the same, like, you know, chest hair for, not chest hair, but chest for the front. And I don't know, it's just really, really odd. And yeah, that's him. That's Megatron from the Fast Action Battlers. We actually have a minute left, so let me show off his package. Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, but that's what they look like for the Fast Action Battlers. But the back of the package, you actually see that they had a different head on him at one point. This was his pre-production head, which has weird Cyclops kind of look, and they changed that before the movie came out. This prototype also has gray fingers, which I wish they had kept, and actual tech specs and a full bio, which you can pause and read if you like. Alright, so that's Megatron from the Transformers live-action movie, Fast Action Battlers. Like I said, I found this guy at eBay. Didn't cost too much, and I recommend picking them up if you like them. Until next time, guys, this has been the Starving Martian. We'll catch up with you later, but keep watching the skies.